Good morning. Our text for this morning comes from Jesus' Sermon on the Mount, from Matthew's Gospel. It starts at chapter 5. The reflection I'm talking about this morning is on an eye for an eye and tooth for a tooth. And the text says this: "You have heard that it was said, eye for eye and tooth for a tooth. But I tell you, do not resist an evil person. If anyone slaps you on the right cheek, turn then the other cheek also. And if anyone wants to sue you and take your shirt, hand over your coat as well. If anyone forces you to go 1 mile, go with him 2 miles. Give to the one who asks you. Do not turn away from the one who wants to borrow from you." So my reflection on this morning, on the Sermon on the Mount, we focus on the kingdom of God. And it comes from the text in Matthew 5 chapter 20. It says, "For I tell you that unless your righteousness surpasses that of the Pharisees and the teachers of the law, you will certainly not enter the kingdom of heaven." Now the question that I've been asking throughout this series is, what does that even look like? Remembering the Pharisees thought that they were the most righteous of them all. They obeyed all the laws, all the rules, all the regulations, and they believed that if they were good enough or tried hard enough, they would be blessed by God. Now Jesus taught that we can do nothing in our own power to enter the kingdom of God. And we can only enter by following him. In other words, we can only enter the kingdom of God through the power of God, not through any power of our own or any other power in the world. Our reflection this morning on an eye for an eye and tooth for a tooth really cuts to the chase of what it takes to enter the kingdom of God. Now it starts off in chapter 5 verse 38. He says this: "You have heard it said, an eye for an eye and tooth for a tooth." When Jesus says, "You have heard it said," means that this is what the Pharisees and teachers of the law teach. It also speaks to justice. If someone was to poke your eye out, then you were only allowed to poke their eye out. Or if someone punched you and knocked out a tooth, you were only allowed to punch him hard enough to knock one tooth out. You weren't allowed to get carried away and knock them all out, because otherwise they in turn were allowed to knock all yours out, and so on. It seemed fair and reasonable by equalising the power structures of the day and provide some sort of law and order into a very bloodthirsty time in our history. Unless, of course, you were a Roman soldier and you had more power. Now Jesus says something very interesting in verse 39. "But I tell you, do not resist an evil person. If someone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to them the other cheek also." Does he think I'm a wimp? It seems like that Jesus is asking us to let someone who obviously has power over us, to slap us, to take it all away, let them do what they like. Meantime, I roll over like a little puppy dog or play chicken. It goes on, it gives more. Verse 40, "If anyone wants to sue you and take your shirt, hand over your coat as well." And what if it's cold? I could catch pneumonia. Does Jesus really want me to give everything away and walk around naked? I'm not sure anyone really wants to see that. In verse 41, "If anyone forces you to go 1 mile, go with them 2 miles. How humiliating. Just imagine the injustice of that. It's like someone telling me to grab their wheelbarrow of rubbish and push it up to the rubbish dump for them while they follow along behind in their nice, warm, comfortable car. I tell you, none of this is sitting well with me. I'm sure it's not sitting well with anybody. I just imagine you're getting a bit worked up out there just thinking about this stuff. So now we get to the last one. It really takes the cake. Verse 42. Give to the one who asks you, and do not turn away from the one who wants to borrow from you. What sort of idiot you think I am? Just let anyone rip me off. Yeah, like that's really going to happen. My goodness, what's Jesus really asking us to do? Is he really asking us to become slaves and be walked over by anyone we like? Does he want us to be? Of course not. Essentially, Jesus is teaching us how to be more righteous than the Pharisees and to enter, and in that way, enter the kingdom of God. We are to rely on the power that comes from God and not the power that comes from ourselves. If someone come up to me and slap me on the cheek, my first instinct would be to try and retaliate. My first thought would be, hey, that's not fair. I would want to do the same back to them, to equal the injustice that has been brought down on me. I treat others how I like to be treated, and the same the other way around. And I feel put out if someone tries to take advantage of my good nature. See, in our culture, equality is almost an obsession. We all deserve to live better. We all deserve to live together equally with dignity and respect. Of course that's true. If one individual or group feel as though they've been fairly untreated, then they would speak up until they feel they have justice. Around and around it goes. Someone gave me an expensive gift. I'd want to give them one too. I'd feel obligated. Someone did me a good turn, so I would have to do them a good turn. Every action has a reaction, and our focus is on keeping everything equal and fair. See, this thinking is called an eye for an eye and tooth for a tooth. Keep everything equal and balanced. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. This is the righteousness of the Pharisees. But this is not the righteousness of the kingdom of God. See, our righteousness has to exceed this sort of righteousness to enter the kingdom of God. This is not the righteousness that reflects the true heart and character of God. Because in verse 39 it said, but I tell you, do not resist an evil person. See, if an evil person pushes us, we are not to push back with evil. And in that way, we take away all their power. See, in Jesus' day, to slap someone on their right cheek was the worst insult another person could do to you. And they had rules about that in both the Jewish and Roman societies. You could actually be prosecuted for doing that. The person who struck you would have to pay, and they would have to pay big. Jesus said to not resist them. Just turn the other cheek. How is that fair? The righteousness that exceeds the Pharisees says this: you think you have insulted me by slapping my cheek, but I have turned and offered my other cheek to show you that I can't be insulted. See, I belong to a far more powerful one than you, and there is nothing that you could do or say that has any power whatsoever over me. I made the choice to turn the other cheek, so the power is mine, not yours. In this world there is nothing that anyone can do or say that can possibly insult us. We have the power of God, and no one else can have any power over us. That is where true freedom lies. Verse 40, if anyone wants to sue you and take your shirt, hand over your coat as well. Someone thinks they have power over me by taking my shirt. Big deal. take away their power. Well, from my coat as well. We are showing them that no matter what they want to do to us, they have no power. Verse 41. If anyone forces you to go 1 mile, go with them 2 miles. See, the Roman soldier in their day could legally ask you to carry all their stuff for them for a mile. To show that they had no power over you, you make the choice to go another mile. We show them that even though they have the power of a conquering army, we answer to a higher power. In verse 42, give to the one who asks you. Do not turn away from the one who wants to borrow from you. Jesus asks us to be generous from the point of view that all things belong to God. Anything that we have or own is insignificant in the kingdom of God. So we are to look beyond what is equal and fair. Jesus doesn't love us because he wants something from us. He is not reacting to how wonderful we are, or how rich we are, or the impressive good deeds we have done. It's not about that sort of equality. Or what we've done, or how good we are, or... See, we really are people that are poor. See, we strive to carve out our fair share in the world. See, we're trying to be equal, or as good as everyone else is. We try to keep up with the Joneses. See, true righteousness comes from the freedom of knowing the truth. The reality is that we really are the loved children of God. See, he gives us our lives, our identities, and our security, so that we can return good for evil. So we can stand in the face of evil and hardship that is trying to slap us down into submission. That our righteousness will surpass that of the Pharisees. We can rise up and offer the other cheek all the time, knowing God's got this. God can do it. God can handle anything. We ourselves can handle nothing in our own power. We rely on the power of God. So let's take that message on board this week. And when we go out into the world, people can insult us. People can say what they like. It doesn't matter. We are children of God. Let's show them the power that God has over us all. Thank you. Have a great and blessed week. See you next time.